Everybody, welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of Franklin Township Historic Preservation Advisory Commission for the month of July. Today is July 18th. It is after 7:30, and we hereby call this meeting to order. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975, this meeting has been appropriately noticed and will be recorded for rebroadcast on Township's YouTube channel. I'll start by calling the roll of who's in attendance. We have Bob LaCourte is present. Here. We have Dominic Stanzione is here. We have Mr. William Burrs is here. Hi. Anthony Gavin here. And Carla Visser is here. So we do constitute a quorum by the skin of our teeth. Oh, I'm Andrew Buring, I'm also present. With that, we have a couple of review actions. One's a continuation of 2022-35, 11 properties, which is 940 Easton Avenue. This is for follow-up on landscape and the trash enclosure of the new McDonald's. And you're here, come on down.
I'm back. It's me. It's your favorite lawyer again. And I did bring handouts. A couple things.
What's our favorite lawyer's name for the record?
Dan Klein, K-L-I-N-E, Prime and Tubel, Hackensack, on behalf of the applicants.
Thank you.
So we have handouts. I apologize that the second handout wasn't sent to you sooner. We just got the information today. But if you'd like to take one and pass, this is the trash enclosure. And this is the exact type of brick that will be used. We received the information of the exact brick we're using, and I sent an email previously, but I'm going to pull it up on this laptop here. It's going to be the company, the size, the finish, and the color of the only type of brick that will be used anywhere there's brick on the property. So you'll see the exact color, the exact shape. You have the brick specifications. And so these are the revisions we made. And to quickly address a comment from last time as well, where you see the overhead in, I believe, the top right corner, there was the question about the main gate entry for the trash enclosure, but it was different from the site plan. Mm-hmm. So the site plan is the right one. The site plan controls. The only reason the trash enclosure is located elsewhere on this exhibit is so that we can show the detail of the ground posts on that bottom left corner. So if you see, I think it says number 5 something, that's the gate goes right above that. But if we put the gate there in the drawing, we wouldn't be able to have the detail. So the site plan is correct. I wanted to clear that up. It was a very good question. And let me pull up the brick information if everyone wants to see. But it's called medium iron sided number 46 with a smooth finish. And as you can see from the second handout, we are using the modular bricks. So that is the one and only size that will be used anywhere that you see brick on the property, whether it was below the one sign, whether it's in the trash enclosure, or whether it's on the building.
All right, so I still have questions. I don't think it's worth belaboring this. I think with the brick it's fine. It's not drawn correctly still, but I think it's fine to move on from that. Your details still don't match the gate detail doesn't match the elevation. Graphically, the way the wall is drawn is not this modular brick size. It's still drawn as a CMU block. So as long as you're saying that we're going to conditionally approve this, that it's going to be this brick veneer of this size and scale, I'm okay to move on, but this is still not drawn correctly.
So yes, and you are correct. When I asked the engineers, they said they would have to hand draw each brick by size if it wasn't preset in CAD.
Yeah,
which unfortunately
so
modular isn't.
That's what they need to do.
I mean, yeah, we can ask them, or we can,
That's just adjusting the scale of the hatching CAD, so it's a terrible excuse.
I'm not an engineer.
And that's the problem, when we specifically ask for something to be graphically represented, to be exactly what's going to be installed, that's what the expectation is. And this drawing is, and I'm sorry, I know you don't really know what we're talking about, largely construction detail-wise, but they're drawing a single white CMU wall, which doesn't account for the thickness of the veneer brick, which is also going to be attached to it, and then the cap detail, which I also specifically asked about, they're just showing the 4-inch cap median. That cap is not going to overhang the brick, which is going to create a proper drip edge to prevent the veneer from exploding off the side of the wall during a freeze thaw. So it's not drawn correctly, but, and I think my reply to Vince that was forwarded to you about the materiality still not represented, still holds true. But with that being said, I think the intent is clear enough that, the gate has been revised per comments back and forth. You're telling us what the modular size of the brick is. You've corrected the plan details. And at the end of the day, it's a trash enclosure. So I'm more or less satisfied. I'm really disappointed that we've done 3 rounds with a professional and it's not done correctly. That's me soapboxing, so I'm sorry.
5 minutes in CAD. I just had my engineer redo something to show me something, to show someone who's coming in. It's really, it's not hand drawing it.
And if it was hand-drawn, this is a 10-minute exercise for any architect or engineer. So, I mean, it's a terrible excuse. And I'm just going to go further down the road since I've already done it. This foundation detail doesn't match what it would need to be if it's a veneer brick, because there has to be a shelf to support the veneer brick. If it's sitting directly on the slab, that should be drawn that way. It's just an irritating thing, but we've done a couple rounds over such a simple detail. But with that being said, I think that the intent is now clarified with the brick, and I think that what you're presenting is somewhat acceptable.
And so this is, if you want to see, this is the exact color, medium iron spot number 46, and the smooth texturized finish for anyone who wants to see.
And that's the same exact brick that's going to be on the McDonald's building.
Yes,
Yeah, that was a big question last time.
only color, only finish, and the modular is the only size, so that everything is going to be uniform. And we would happily agree to that if you want to just put it in writing as a condition too.
Yeah, that was a big issue last time. We couldn't tell what was on the building versus what was on the.
Yeah.
Look like the wood.
We're calling it out, so that's helpful.
And the,
And I've just got some information that knows that. It's very precise.
Any questions?
Yeah, anybody else have any questions, comments, thoughts? I just don't want to see it again, to be honest. I mean, if you're close enough, I mean, it's a trash enclosure, but I mean, we shouldn't be pulling teeth with a professional on such a simple detail. It's just, I'm sorry, I shouldn't.
I think
I've seen it. It's a couple times.
All right, so with that being said, does anybody have anything further before we open the public or make a motion? Anybody from the public want to talk about McDonald's trash enclosure? Bill, anything good? You don't have to look at it anymore, so that's good. With no public coming forward, I'll make a motion to approve condition that it is constructed with the modular brick veneer as represented.
I'll say that.
I have a second, Mr. LaCour. All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Yay. Cool, thank you.
Thank you. I'm disappointed I won't get to see you all next month, but I hope everyone
It was close.
I I would give those engineers a stern talking to.
You know what, I wish you would, because we're not here to pacify, we're here to actually do a job for the township, and when we ask for such a simple ask, it's kind of a mockery of what we do that they can't respond to that, especially as professionals, and we were crystal clear. I can't even articulate how clear we were with what we were asking for.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't give you a hard time about the building, it was just this one element that we said, look, this isn't a visible location, yeah, it's a trash enclosure, but we need it to be more than just a trash enclosure. So.
Right. Well, thank you again, and I appreciate your patience. I'll see what I can do about those chicken nuggets maybe next time. Have a great night.
Honey mustard.
You got it.
Sorry, guys. I was just saying, no. Very irritating.
We expect a level from a professional, and when you tell an engineer what to do, and change, that is beyond simple what he has to do. It's beyond simple what he has to do, and we just can't get it right.
Yeah, and I know as the attorney, he doesn't really fully digest what we're saying. The engineer or the designer should be here to have these conversations. Okay. With that being said, let's move on, please. Application 2023, which is for a new roof and gutters at 4575 Route 27. Come on down, you have a seat at the table. And your name for the record, please.
Deborah Agnew of Willico,
Can you spell that last name?
AGNEW.
Thank you. And you're representing the owner? Or you are the owner?
I am the owner with my husband, who let me come here by myself.
No soup.
So why don't you tell us a little bit, first about the property specifically in Kingston, and then what you want to do to it?
Okay, so this, I'm sorry everything was in late, but I only had a meeting today, so, and I've got a bit of a panic on, but this is,
It'll be nicer to you, I promise.
I don't mind.
That guy was 3 rounds of this.
No, I'm all for making sure things are right, so, so this is a property on Main Street, Kingston, that we
The house
purchased,
was cut off.
purchased about 2 years ago.
Okay.
We did some work on the inside. It's in a sort of commercial zoning. It's right on the main street, and we have an office in there. And we did some interior, sorting out. We knew there was going to be an issue with the roof, and it's now become urgent. So there's history on this. This was built, I think, in the late 30s. 1930s, it is. And apparently that is an asbestos tile roof.
And you've had a contractor verify that that's what that is?
That's what the inspector said, the inspection.
Whether it's the home inspection
Yes,
or the building inspection?
yeah. And that's what was in the details when the property was being sold. And
Still bought it.
I did get some quotes beforehand, because I know it's difficult to get rid of this stuff, obviously. But we can't replace as is, because we're not allowed to use asbestos tiles anymore.
Right, yeah.
No brainer.
Yeah.
But, so we just want to put on an asphalt roof. But, this is just getting worse and worse every time it rains. You know what it's been like. The leaks just get bigger and bigger. And then there's a request to put gutters on the garage as well, because that's what's causing the molding. It's drip straight off. And the other thing that has been suggested is wider gutters, because every time it rains, the gutters just can't cope and it just spills over. So,
Right. Looks like they're 4-inch gutters now, they're probably suggesting 6-inch.
yeah, exactly.
That makes a huge difference from my face 2 years ago.
Alrighty.
Huge difference.
Yeah, and that, I mean, it certainly makes sense, because it's a deluge. And this is an aside, but you'll see, because you'll see us again, you'll see that there was some weird 1970s additions, like this, like greenhouse type
Right.
thing.
I love it.
We're going to have to get rid of that, because that is leaking, it's got moss growing in it, you know, but,
And that was probably a
So this has been leaking for a while, and it's just time to get it fixed.
well, I first noticed the leaks, maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay.
I mean, we knew it was sort of dodgy, but it had been patched up for sale. And, but now, you know, with these weird rains we've been having, it's just getting worse. We had someone try and come and patch things up, but that actually made things worse, because I think there was a lot of blockage that was stopping it from being so bad, but we can't carry on, essentially. Oh, I have
Have you had a contractor come out
Yeah.
to look at this already?
I've had a couple of contractors. Oh, so yes, here are what they're suggesting. Something like this, fairly standard. And the only one I've really thought about is the Weatherford. I don't know which way. This is,
That's the one.
okay.
So this is the bottom one?
Yes, which is actually more a color, that's that one.
So did you, I'm sure you weren't pushed in this direction by the contractor to look at this, but they sell shingles, modern shingles that are called slate line.
Right.
That more mimic the shingles that you're replacing. Is that something that you've looked at? Because what you have here is, these asbestos shingles were meant to mimic a slate style roof. Clearly, it's not a slate roof. And these roofs typically lasted 30 to 50 years, depending on how good the installer was, or where the rain was, how bad the rain has been. So I'm sure it's not the original roofs of the house, since it was built in the 1930s. But this is like a simulated slate profile. And I'm not sure if this is important to anybody, I'm just bringing this up, that, you know, it is possible to replace this roof with one that's very similar appearance to what is here.
Right, from the shape and size of what the actual shingles are.
Yeah, we did talk about this, and I was told it was going to be about $20,000 more. Yeah, to go for those, and they're still going to be nowhere near the size of those.
Right.
Because these are like, this is about the size of those things on the roof right now. Whereas, you know, typical modern shingles are much smaller, I think. More like what's on the garage. I don't know where the garage photo is, but obviously the garage was replaced.
The slate ones typically have a larger profile to try and more mimic that style. And like I said, I'm not sure, I'm not pushing it in anybody's direction, I'm just bringing it up.
I can ask again. Because, you know, if they can get the, what are they pushing me towards? HDZ, is
Yeah,
it?
that's very common, that's
Yeah.
just, it's a three-dimensional architectural shingle.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily match the style of the home.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering. I mean, I guess it's fine, but it's different, right?
Right, yeah.
We don't know what was originally,
Although, from
Obviously.
Where's Glenn? This kid probably did a report on it.
That's cute. All I know is that this house was built on a site on two houses next door to each other, burned down in the 20s, late 20s, and these were built instead, although the house next door to us looks more traditional.
I mean, it becomes, every day, right?
Right.
That's what you see every day. It loses a little bit of a character. But I'm not sure that it matters. I mean, I don't think it's a contributing structure.
No, and we've already got pieces on there that, change the
Architectural
architecture
style.
inside.
And
With
so
the swoop on it.
So the building is used for commercial use, you have an office in there? The Google Earth shows that you're trying to rent out an office, is that, maybe it's just an old picture?
No, is that us? Oh, yeah, that's an old picture,
Okay.
because that's the for sale sign. We purchased it in 2021.
Okay.
So that's from then. And it was on the market for 3 years, I think. And as I say, we will be coming back to you about this weird dome thing, because we'll try to take the building back to more what it would have been like, as far as I can work out. Same thing with the windows in the front. The big thing with the dome has this just completely clear glass in it at the moment, which is all misted up, and we're going to apply to put in,
I don't know, when you start calling it the dome, it sounds more of a feature. Kind of sounds nice.
on the front. I don't know who has the front picture. There's a great big window, yeah, this one, right? We're not going to remove the dome on top, but this,
That's a sunburst.
the sunburst is original, but what's in there, although I've put tape on it to mark out what it will look like.
The arch top window.
Yeah. But right now, these are a 70s replacement that's completely clear. I don't know what you call those things that go across.
You mean in here?
Yeah,
They're stiles and rails.
okay.
and this is what you're referring to,
Yeah,
and you want to remove this.
so we want to replace these windows and remove,
Not millions and millions?
Right.
That too.
But this is the one that's
yeah, but putting something more similar to that.
Yes. No,
I just wanted to look up really quick the national register to see if this property is
Big
in.
window.
Thought process.
Explain this picture. It looks like the house is cut in
Yeah.
half.
That's the way it was built. I don't know if it was meant to be, yeah, maybe that was a plan that was meant to have one next door to it, and they only bought half of it, I don't know.
So,
You know, one of these
together.
kits.
so, yeah, it's like the house is missing.
Which part of this cut off is over here?
Is here.
All right. Just sort of, okay. So otherwise you're looking at it this way
Yeah.
and this way, okay. Control, place the force, putting it together. Yeah, there's there's no hits for your address in the National Registry. Two-story, 5-bay vernacular frame structure with numerous expansions and alterations. Aluminum siding, main block is part commercial and part residential. Side gable is tin roof with partial return. 4 over 4 windows and 1 storefront. That's $45.77. Well, no, you're $45.75.
Yeah.
Looks like it looks very different now.
Different roof.
No hit.
Different siding.
Yeah. All right. Anybody have questions, comments, or thoughts? So we have a architectural style shingle and a 6-inch K section gutter and downspouts. Right, those are the elements that you're asking for specifically?
Sorry, what did you say, the architecture?
Architectural style shingles is just generically what they're referred to as. And K section gutters refers to the style of the gutter. You know, there's either half round, which is, sounds as a U shape, or what you have here, which has what's called an OG on it. And that's what you normally see on modern houses.
What color gutters are you going for?
Just brown again, which is what was on there.
Yeah, that blend.
So the gutters and downspouts are more or less a replacement in kind.
Yeah.
It's just white.
Make it wider.
Yeah.
So any more questions, comments? Anybody from the public have anything on this application? Seeing as our public was forward, does anybody have a motion or questions or
I'll make a
comments?
motion, I support.
So the motion is approval of architectural style shingles in the K-section gutters and downspouts. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have anybody opposed? I'm opposed, so, but that's okay. Motion carries. You get your roof.
Opposed, tell me?
I would like you to go back with a slate line roof, but that's okay.
I will investigate that, because I agree with you, actually, and you're making me think.
It would look nicer.
It would look a lot nicer.
So, can we amend the motion to include both styles of shingles?
We could amend the motion to approve either option, yes. Color to be determined by homeowners, we don't care about color.
I'll amend the motion.
So Bob will amend his motion.
And the second has to approve the...
So the second has to approve the amendment, and then we have to re-vote.
Right.
All in favor?
So we're voting on the amendment first.
Right, we're on the amended motion.
Right. Oh, okay.
So the motion is now to approve as submitted with architectural shingles and K-section gutters with the option to install a slate line roof in place. And then, so that's the motion.
Right.
That's the second. Right. And the vote is?
Yes.
I have one more question.
Sure.
If I had asked for a raised seam metal roof, would that have been okay, or probably
I
not?
think a standing seam roof would probably be less appropriate
Yeah, for the style of
for this
house.
style of house.
Yeah. We have a really nice roof, but I'm not so sure that it matches the style of
If
house.
you think the slate line is expensive, a standing seam roof.
What I would say, if you wanted to do something like that, maybe like you would do a standing seam like on like your dwelling or something like that. And do the other parts in.
Right.
Because there's already metal on this little thing.
Right.
And there will be, we're going to request metal on that.
Yeah, so you did here, you have that, and you have that bolt in it, and then everything else is like a slate line or something like that. That would be a nice combination. They complement each other.
Okay,
But then you can do that the same color brown as the gutters.
Yeah, same metal,
yeah,
same roof company can do those gutters.
okay. So do I need to ask if I go that route? That's pretty
If you
suggestive.
go that route,
Do I have to come back to you?
if you go that route, contact Vincent, we'll have an internal conversation and see if we can do an administrative approval.
Okay.
So
But
you
you're
don't have to come
asking
back.
for these other things anyway.
Yeah,
About the
the-
windows, so she's gonna have to come back.
She's gonna come up with all that
The
stuff.
only thing is that I'm,
They won't stop the leaking.
I want to get going like as soon as I can
Yeah,
get.
that's fine. I
Yeah,
understand.
just to, you know, there are more and more bubbles appearing, you know, in that main room, so, yeah, okay. Can I use those because I will, I don't know, you can throw them out, but, we'll be back as they say.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
That concludes the formal reviews for this evening. Any informal conversation in advance notice? No. Any public discussion?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
My name is John Masters, Jam and Jam Construction.
Okay.
Was I supposed to be here tonight at a meeting?
No, that matter was postponed.
Okay.
I guess your attorney didn't tell you?
I gotta be honest with you, I'm having a family crisis, and my daughter's an alcoholic, and she's down in South Carolina, and it's a freaking mess, and I apologize to you if I was supposed to be here, but now that I can...
No, that was
Okay,
supposed to...
But somebody sent me a message that there's a meeting tonight, now, and I raced over here. I live in Manila, I got here as fast as I could, so...
Yeah, no, it was taken off the agenda.
Okay. Can I just ask some informal questions that might help me to get this thing?
Well, I can tell you what happened is when you came here in October, the board commission asked for a series of things.
Right.
And when you resubmitted, none of it was resubmitted. Even the most simplest thing where we said we didn't want the garage to be the focal point, it needed to be recessed, even that wasn't done. So we went through, the study that shows what the setbacks were, the size of the properties, that wasn't submitted. And now you're doing a demolition of the existing structure, so we need a demolition application too. So the only thing we got was architectural plans of a house that was, you were gonna build 3 of the same, which, that's,
You were supposed to...
I'm telling you what we got was that. So I had a conversation with Aaron from Pete Lambert's office, and I said, you can't come because there's nothing new. You didn't address any of the comments whatsoever. So we need to get that so that the commission can have a meaningful discussion, and we need the demolition portion of the application, because that comes first. You need to get and you can do it all at once. You can do the new and the old, but this commission has to approve the demolition before they can approve new homes. So it's just the process has to follow.
Okay, but in all fairness, I wouldn't demolish the home unless I had permission to put up 3 homes. Why would I just demolish it?
You were going to the board
To ask for one house to the left?
to ask
To the right, I'm
to subdivide and put 3 homes up.
Yes.
Before you can go to the board, this commission has to give their recommendations to the board, and the board doesn't have the ability to, and they always, whatever this commission says, they always go with that, because that's what this is here. So you can't go and have that done, and you can't get approval for, and if you go and they deny the subdivision, but let's say they decide they're not going to let you have 3 homes.
Okay.
The board could do that. I don't know if they will or won't. Then you decide whether you're going to keep the existing home, but to get to the point where the board can even consider the subdivision, you need to come here first, get the...
No, I understood that part, but I have to get approval to demolish it
Yes.
before I get that.
You have to have that, you're right, you have to have that discussion, because there's a process with demolition.
Okay, well, I just want to tell the board, if you don't mind, I thought I did everything I could. I addressed every one of those questions. The only, two of them, I didn't, I don't know if I should use the word disagree with or whatever. But the one about the garage, we have pictures of at least 6 garages in the area.
And you really don't have to have the discussion now. The point is, none of that was submitted.
But, okay, so what's submitted? Okay.
You needed, if you want to ask the board to approve the house as is, you need to show that, which is what we asked for in October, to do the neighborhood and say, show us the pictures, listen, there are 10 homes, and they're all 50-foot wide, and none of them have garages, and they're all, but you need to, we don't have that. We got nothing except for architectural plans, and I'll also repeat, the architectural plans that were submitted didn't have any of the detail that we asked for. We asked for very specific detail on how the building, instead of it being the concept plan, and there needed to be more construction, that wasn't submitted either. So what I'm telling you is that you may have done all of that, we didn't get it.
Okay, but I hope you don't mind, I don't mean to put anything. I just like to know, I paid a lot of money for this, okay, to come here and to go to the town. And now I'm being told that if everything was here, I could have made this meeting or the meeting
If
before.
you had submitted
that.
the stuff that we asked for in October, we would have heard it, but we got nothing. When I say nothing, we got nothing new,
Okay,
nothing.
well, I got a lot of new bills that I paid. Just the one question on the garage, okay? You don't have it in front of you, and I apologize, I don't even have it with me. I changed all the colors because he had it, I told him this in the very beginning, looked like a circus. There's 4 different colors, 2 different roofs. I said he was gonna draw it up with all the same roof, number 1. I was gonna monochromatic the whole thing. The garage door would have been painted the same color as the trim, which is not white. It would be green if the house is green, gray if it's gray, or so on. I thought that was a good compromise.
Once again, you need to submit everything, because we can't hear the matter, because there's nothing for us to look at.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and it's unfair to you, and it's unfair to have a partial discussion on something without having anything in front of us. And so, get us all the stuff.
When is the next meeting?
It's
September.
September.
First Tuesday.
First Tuesday, whatever the first Tuesday is in September.
All right, I promise you all, I will not waste your time. I will have everything, and I'll bring it, and if I'm the only one here,
Perfect.
yes,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the 5th.
Thank
things are
you.
being handled.
Good luck.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's, I didn't write it in my calendar, but I think it would be the 5th.
Labor Day in there too.
We don't get that off.
You got work in Labor Day weekend.
My pool was away.
We should, I know you're already on top of this, but we'll review again what's submitted prior to the meeting, make sure it's
No,
complete enough.
that's, yeah, because
Well, am I correct in remembering that he didn't suggest it was the existing building in one lot?
originally what he was doing, he was gonna keep the existing 2 or 3 family home, which is
Right.
deplorable.
Yes, it is.
It's in horrendous shape. And we, from the planning perspective, suggested that when you have a non-conforming use, it makes sense to get rid of the non-conforming use and put another house. He wants 3 houses on a subdivision, which is something else that normally you don't opine on a subdivision, but the subdivision is going to require variances, and it goes to the character of the neighborhood, which is why you said if they were going to do that, you needed to have, they need to show the neighborhood. You need to show that each lot is 50 feet, and these lots are going to be 50 feet, so it's in keeping with the neighborhood. But you can't make that decision, and when that wasn't submitted, they said, well, we have it. I said, well, you didn't give it to us, and you can't, that's way too complicated to come to a meeting and start, the commission needs to have that so they can look at it, and most of you will go to the neighborhood and say, oh, okay, you can't just bring something like that to the meeting. It's not fair to all of you. And they made no other changes. When I say they made no other changes,
So they made one,
what did they do?
they made the windows a regularized size.
Oh, okay.
But before they like 5 different size windows, now there's like,
And we asked for, details of, and it's still like a conceptual,
Yeah, very generic.
Yeah, I know.
conceptual plan. It's,
But I wasn't.
and then they gave us one architecture for 3 houses exactly the same,
Oh.
which, that would never be, you'd never say yes. I mean, the whole neighborhood is, every house is different though.
and you'd have everybody from East Millstead come to our next meeting if we did that.
It's completely inappropriate for that neighborhood, and I told them, I said, you're wasting everyone's time.
Yeah.
So, and they agreed. Now, whether they had stuff or who didn't give it, I don't know. That, alls I know is that it's my job to give it to you. They didn't give it to me. And when I sent it to you, I wanted to see your reaction. You were like, what? And so you got it, and then I told them.
So are we gonna tell them to not bring the same house 3 times?
They've already been told.
They've already been told.
that, okay.
They've already been told. So, I did. I said 0% chance. I mean, I can't speak for, but I know the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's completely inappropriate. It's not even questionable to put 3, that's just,
I mean, East Millstead is truly a hidden gem in like central New Jersey.
Unbelievable. It's so beautiful.
And the people that live there are pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Now you start doing that, it's
The
fruitful.
fact that it's now being subdivided into 3 homes.
it has not been subdivided.
Okay. So that has to be
They have to
decided.
go to the planning board.
Sure.
And they will need variances. Now, assuming, my guess is assuming that they prove to you that that size lot is appropriate, and you recommend that, my guess is the board will allow that subdivision for 2 reasons. First of all, the existing home is a 2 or 3 family that's grandfathered, and it's deplorable. And we want to get rid of that nonconformity. So letting them have an extra house, if it's in conformance with the neighborhood and you're okay with it, my guess is the planning board will say,
Okay.
that would be my guess, because they're going to listen to you and say it's a lot better to have 3 homes that you think are going to look nice than this non-conforming use in 1 home. I don't speak for them, but that's what they've done in the past.
And when they came in October, we had pointed out that there's been quite a bit of ongoing work already
Yeah.
on the existing house that has not been here for
Yeah, I remember.
approvals, like the porch,
Deck and all
the porch and the deck, yeah.
Yep. So we'll just wait and see if they get us.
All right. So, moving on, no incoming correspondence that I'm aware of, except that Vince and I have been contacted to do our CLG report, which we have to get done. Open space? No open space?
There was open space where there was nothing that was historic.
Carla, you attended the preservation conference, and you sent me some bullet points I'll distribute to everybody after the meeting.
No problem, right? Yeah, I attended the conference in Atlantic City, and it was really very worthwhile, honestly. I mean, I hate Atlantic, I'm sorry, I hate Atlantic City, I'm not a gambler. And I just, to me, it's Sin City. But, the conference was great. Really interesting discussions, sessions, I met people from the state, very, very impressed. Very impressed. I think they're so lucky in New Jersey. Extremely competent, well-trained, and helpful people, And I had, I would encourage in the future, it's definitely worth it, And one thing, so what I said to Andrew is I put together I wanted to collect all my notes and everything. I'm going to continue to do that. But I did want to share with you the insights of the keynote speaker, which was Andrew Markham, a very impressive individual. And I think there are points for us to think about, and I'm not sure what's going on in Franklin Township around, the matter of climate change and historic preservation. And it was he was captivating. Nobody breathed, it was dead silence. It was so shocking, everything he was sharing with us. So Andrew Markham is the Deputy Director of Climate and Energy Program at the Union of Concerned Scientists in Cambridge. And he leads their efforts to persuade policymakers to respond to the climate crisis. And, looking in the slideshow that you get. So, a very impressive person. He wrote National Landmarks at Risk, a report. We also wrote a report on World Heritage and Tourism and a Changing Climate. And, he has a blog. You could look up all information about him. But some of the things he shared with us, the data that he has collected over the years, we're losing archaeological and historical archives of our past due to climate change and increasing temperatures. 180,000 World Heritage Sites are at risk. A third will be gone by 2050, including those in Africa, and including 90%, and we're probably aware of a lot of this and we're living it actually now, 90% of living coral reefs and 25% of marine life, and marine life diversity will be lost. 18,000 glaciers and 50 heritage sites are threatened. 40 World Heritage properties are at risk, 1,100 sites in 167 countries. 195 countries' culture and natural resources did not anticipate climate change. Out of 23 U.S. sites, 14 are already impacted. Examples: Glacier National Park, Ellis Island, Statue of Liberty. Climate change damage, flooding, salt, water damage, extreme precipitation, buildings, ancient masonry, and rock art impacted. Extensive wildfires, we know that, and ocean warming. Changes in biology that affect cherry blossoms and indigenous festivals. 5% of global CO2 emissions come from tourism and carbon emissions from air travel, and they expect it to double in 25 years. With the huge cruise ships, more tourists, more hotels, water extraction and rainfalls, less glaciers, more damage to sites. Strategies. Physical protection of seawalls and physical protection from weather extremes, are taking place now. For example, moving lighthouses. I don't know if you had the opportunity to see, there was a program on NOVA. Oh, that was totally fascinating. Where they moved a lighthouse at Martha's Vineyard. It was amazing. It was totally, and he actually talked about it.
I think they did it in Hatteras as well.
Yeah, and there's something in New Jersey. I know they're facing this problem in New Jersey as well. Traditional community-based water management is a strategy. Site management strategies, climate vulnerability assessments. This impacts us. Do we do this, Vince? Do we do this?
Do we do it?
Climate vulnerability assessments. Particularly
The
as
township has to do strategic things like that.
Do they do that?
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
As part of the municipal land use law?
Pretty sure.
Do we know about that?
I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a requirement.
But regarding historic preservation, do we know?
No, we don't specifically talk about in terms of historic preservation.
Because that's what he's saying you really have to do. You really have to do assessments, and project where do you see, the problems, and then what can you do, to reinforce, those properties and everything. And that's something I was really curious to know what's going on in our township. So, we want to plan and manage for change and identify plausible scenarios, use local and indigenous knowledge, prepare for climate change. By the way, one of the most important things you can do is taking good care of existing infrastructure, which makes a lot of sense, right? If you have lemons, make lemonade, right? And by the way, the DEP has funding for sustainability. There are lots of funding. Are you aware of that? You're all aware of that.
We have a sustainability a whole committee that's been meeting for years.
Oh, really? I'd love to
Yes.
know more about what they're
Yes.
doing. Oh, that's cool.
You
That's
should
great.
really speak to Ted Chase about that. He's been the spearhead on that
Okay.
committee for.
cool.
Ted's still around? No kidding.
Yeah. Ted is the person to talk about.
Okay, that's cool.
He knows,
Yeah, that's great.
anything you want to know about that, that's,
That's great. But are we involved with them in terms of, for,
I
you
believe
know?
we just got an award a few months ago.
He did, we did.
We did.
So our,
Township Sustainability.
okay.
I'm telling you, you really need to talk to Dr. Chase. There's a committee that meets regularly and recommends, and we've adopted different ordinance for all different.
Great, great.
So,
Cool.
he knows, I don't even want to start talking about it because.
No, I understand.
He,
He's the expert.
yeah,
Yeah, I understand.
everything there
Well,
needs to
That's
know.
very reassuring.
In part thanks to the state, but Franklin Township on a whole has one of the highest percentages of open and preserved
Yeah, that I know.
land
Yeah.
in the state.
Right, right, right.
34% of the township is preserved.
Right, right, yeah, I know about that, that's great, that's really great. But anyway, it was, and also, in the package you're gonna get, there are a tremendous amount of tools available. North New Jersey Adapt Climate Dashboard, and they have a suite of things that you can use to project floods and climate change and coastal, the impact on the coast and everything else. So this is just a list of tools, that you can take advantage of. But, I found he was very compelling, and everybody was, very impacted by what he said. So it's something that stays with you. And I was wondering, because I didn't know what was going on in our township.
Yeah, there's a lot of things really going on, a lot of programs for that. Vince said Ted Chase is the man when it comes to a lot of that. Dr. Ted Chase.
Yes, talk to Ted.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Maybe we can invite him back to a meeting for old time's sake.
He used to be on the committee?
Agenda.
When we have time. Great, well, thank you for the overview, and I'll send out your notes to everybody.
Sure, thank you.
With that being said, the only thing left is that the August meeting has been canceled. There's not going to be enough people here for it, so we're not doing it. So next meeting will be September 5th, and with that, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion.
We got it, close it. Brilliant.